said, we're just to the west of London. We have a beautiful leafy 30-acre site, but we're within walking distance of Ascot High Street, which has a small array of shops and cafes for the older girls. They're able to just explore that very small town. We're also really well connected, 25 minutes from Heathrow Airport. Travel is convenient and inexpensive, only 45 minutes from central London. It's just a 10-minute walk to the Ascot railway station, the train station. We have a direct regular train route into London Waterloo, and just 6 miles from the royal town of Windsor, which is surrounded by the Windsor Great Park, which is all owned by the Crown, by the King's estate. And that means that we've got a lot of lovely parkland around us as well. So very much the best of both worlds. We are a traditional school. We have a strong heritage and Church of England foundation, but we're also very forward-looking. We welcome all faiths and indeed none. We have a real healthy mix of boarding and day pupils, and that gives us a diverse international outlook, coupled with an emphasis on inclusion. So about 60% of our pupils are day girls, and about 40% of those are boarders. Many of those full boarders from a variety of different countries, others who board during the week and go home at the weekend. And indeed, many of that 60% of day girls will often board on a flexi basis as well. So a very buzzy boarding community. About half of our boarders, so around 20% of the school, come from families based overseas. Some of those are British girls who live overseas, but others from a range of countries, including Nigeria, Spain, Hong Kong, Ukraine, Maldives, South Africa, Germany, Zimbabwe, and China, to name but a few. So the fact that our boarding is very flexible, and we have day girls who will book into board as well, suiting their activities, means that we have a really buzzy boarding community that is very diverse with lots of different people in it. So why do I think an all-girls boarding education at St George's is the very best choice for your daughter? Well, there are 3 things that we focus on at St George's to help our girls thrive and become, firstly, confident, secondly, capable, and thirdly, connected. So I'm going to take each of those just briefly in turn. So confident, we want the girls to be who they want to be, to find a really strong sense of who they are, to grow in confidence. And that is something we hear a lot about the families of the girls who join us saying their girls have really grown in confidence. So being the size we are, with around 40 to 50 girls in the year groups from year 9 upwards, we know each girl really well, and they know each other, and they know other girls across different year groups as well, and have strong relationships with lots of girls and the staff. And that is a really distinctive element of St George's, those relationships. Now, I strongly believe that part of this confidence becomes from being the size we are, but also from being an all-girls school. And we think the girls are very lucky to be in this single-sex environment for their precious teenage years. Being a teenager can be tough. Being a teenage girl can be especially tough, but we are purely focused on supporting the girls. We challenge them to take risks, to go out of their comfort zone, to fail, to get back up again. We support them to get the real best out of them in the classroom, yes, but in all their activities. And they are supported by our very strong and well-deserved reputation for pastoral support and pastoral care from our fantastic staff. The girls aren't self-conscious in class. They're not wearing lots of makeup. They put their glasses on, put their hand up. They're really confident to have a go in an environment that fosters success. Now, research that I've been very involved in the Girls' Schools Association about girls' education shows that girls' confidence in the world levels really start to decline at about age 8 and only recover at about age 18. In a mixed environment, in a co-ed school, girls, especially good girls, can get less time from their teacher than in an all-girls lesson. Girls can be seen as a civilizing influence on boys, such as when boys' schools take girls in the sixth form or introduce girls. That's historically been done to improve boys' positions, not purely for the girls. But in girls' schools, we create an environment that builds confidence, and I believe this confidence stays with them throughout their lives. They learn to find their own voice. At St George's, they don't have to fight for any gender balance in the school community. They believe they can do anything. They take all the leading roles. They can do any subject, any career. We don't have any subliminal messages. It's all about the girls. So secondly, I'm going to talk about the girls becoming capable. Our girls believe they can do anything. There are no limits or subliminal messages about the areas in which they can excel inside and outside the classroom. And we encourage them to undertake a really huge range of opportunities in many areas. We have a broad intake of girls at 11 plus, at 13 plus, and into the sixth form from a range of feeder schools, both in the UK and overseas. Not everyone is a natural academic superstar when they join us, but the girls do really well academically in all girls schools. They're far more likely to take maths, chemistry, physics, economics, and languages A level in girls schools, but also in all areas of school life, wherever their interests and strengths lie. That might be law, engineering, medicine, drama, fashion, wherever they want to pursue, we encourage them. We offer a wide range of GCSEs. Girls usually take 9 or 10 GCSEs, and we offer 23 different A-level subjects. And our results this year have been really impressive and testament to the girls' hard work, the support of their teachers, but also that individual tracking, monitoring, encouraging, supporting, target setting that you can really do in a smaller school. And you can see our impressive results on our website as well in the news section. Small classes that we have help each girl to be well known and to find their own voice in an environment where their talents can be nurtured. Each girl, we believe, has their own individual journey to her own personal excellence. And as a strong community, we work really hard with each individual girl to discover their passions, their interests, their talents, and we add great value in these areas as the girls move through the school. We're very inclusive as a community. We embrace diversity, and we place a great deal of value, as I said, in building those strong relationships. And getting the best out of the girls, I believe, is in no insignificant part down to these relationships. The teachers are fantastic. They're subject specialists, and they balance support with guidance and stretch and ambition. So post 18, our girls who leave us at the end of the year do exceptionally well. And of course, their destinations will vary year on year, both in the UK and overseas, including in the US, universities in Hong Kong, in other countries as well across the world. 70% of the upper sixth who left us in the summer achieved their university place of choice in a very competitive field. And we have leavers over the past few years who are currently at universities at Oxford, Bristol, UCL, Durham, Warwick, Edinburgh, Newcastle, also a range of music conservatoires and art colleges. And just to tell you some of the subjects they are doing, I think will show you how much that spreads across the sciences, humanities and creative arts. There's medicine, they're doing PPE, Arabic, law, chemistry, economics, architecture, engineering, international relations, sports science, primary education, business management, animation and fashion marketing, so a real range. And I hope that shows you the breadth of excellence and interests in our girls, all of which are right for different girls and equally valued here. Now, another thing that sets us apart from schools is our very broad co-curricular programme and the opportunities that a school of our size offers. What we mean by co-curricular activities is everything that goes on beyond the classroom, and we run a huge range of clubs and activities each week. These are really important in stretching the horizons of the girls, but also in terms of their well-being. So they have fresh air, stretch their minds, stretch their bodies, and develop character in other ways outside the classroom. Most clubs run across all year groups. Some are run by senior girls, which helps the girls to form and strengthen those friendships across the ages, which is really special to St George's and something the girls really value. Examples of activities might include lots of sport, netball, lacrosse, swimming, football. We've got drama rehearsals for our musical happening at the moment, concerts, cookery, tycoon enterprise, debating, art clubs, culture and diversity club, film clubs, really to name but a few, there is something for everyone. Now, you'll be able to see our impressive facilities on the virtual tour and also the video that I mentioned we launched a few weeks ago with me giving a tour of the school. And of course, if you're able to visit us in person. I'm a great believer that schools are not just about facilities. More importantly are the people and the culture, but facilities do give the girls wonderful opportunities. So we focus on performance. We have some outstanding sports players, musicians, actors, dancers, swimmers, but also on participation. It's really important for us that everybody can have a go. So the girls produce stunning art, lots of music, concerts, open mic nights, dance show, but also a wide range of house events. And we have chapel services, assemblies and talks, as well as lots of sports fixtures each week. Tomorrow we've got lots of netball and football going on here. So the third feature of St George's is that they are connected. Now, for us at St George's, the concept of being connected strongly relates to our community. As I said, we're a strong and diverse community where we celebrate the fact that we are stronger together than as individuals. We place a real emphasis on relationships, philanthropy, kindness, and awareness of others as well as knowing ourselves. And this doesn't just apply within our extended school community, but also our connections outside school are a really important part of developing life experiences and allowing the girls to grow as an individual. We're proud of being socially and culturally diverse. We celebrate people for who they are and what they bring to the community. We want our girls to escape any supposed bubble of privilege. We want them to mix outside and beyond St George's as they develop skills that allow them to make their mark in the wider world. We're making the most of advances in technology for learning. We're a flagship Google reference school. We're also encouraging girls to take up opportunities in the local community with our older people, with some of our primary schools, through outreach, celebrating diversity and inclusion and links with our and other communities across the wider world. And online opportunities as well give the girls fantastic reach internationally as well as locally within our home community in Ascort. We have a strong focus on diversity and inclusion within the school in the curriculum. And more broadly, we have a diversity and inclusion prefect highlighting how important this is to us. Now, there are also plenty of leadership opportunities for the girls in sports teams, in plays, running house events, mentoring younger pupils, leading societies within the school for younger year groups. Lots of opportunities of work across the ages are a real feature of the co-curricular activities in the school. And the girls learn a lot about themselves as well as about other people. We have a fantastic alumni network with our old girls from the school who give talks, who return and speak about their jobs in science research, charity work, law, setting up their own businesses, really inspiring for the girls. And we've got an event where we're welcoming lots of our alumni back in November as well. So to draw my bit to a close, in all schools, strong relationships are really vital to girls as they grow up and develop their own identity and independence. And a girls' boarding environment, they really have the space and opportunity to grow those networks. They will make friends with girls from across the world, and that really sets them up well for the reality of our increasingly connected world and the ability to feel comfortable and confident in situations with a diverse range of different people, which they will come across when they move on from us. They will literally build their own global networks. The biggest and most exciting opportunity for your daughters coming to board in the UK is to discover new things, for each girl to discover her own talents and strengths, and most importantly, to develop self-belief. So we want to work with you as parents to unlock your daughter's potential and take advantage of the very exciting opportunities we offer at St George's so that your daughters can be happy, confident, grounded, successful, and have a strong sense of self to enable them to thrive and make the very best of their future lives as they take their place in our international world. So that is all from me. I am delighted next to introduce Mrs. Simpson, my deputy head, who I said is in charge of boarding and pastoral care, works very closely with our house mistress, our heads of year, the health centre, all those important parts of a boarder's life. And she's going to talk to you a little bit about that area of school. Over to Mrs. Simpson. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Helen Simpson and I'm Deputy Head Pastoral, and I've been at St George's for just over 10 years. I've also got a daughter here who's in year 9, which I think is always quite a good testament to how much I love being here, and also what a wonderful school it is. She's very immersed. We've got a very wide and broad curriculum here, as I'm sure Mrs. Hewer has already told you, as well as the big range of co-curricular activities that are available. So I live on site with my family, and a core part of my role is overseeing and being very much involved in the boarding community. And across the whole school, my role is really focused on pastoral care, the boarding community, but also the general well-being of the girls here, we place a really strong emphasis on making sure that the girls' well-being is very positive. And if they struggle with their well-being, we have lots of support mechanisms. We very much believe that if the girls are in a good place with their well-being, then that naturally ensures that they're enjoying their curriculum as well as their co-curricular activities. We try to make sure that the girls get a balance. We work really hard as a school to make sure that the girls get an opportunity to support their well-being by making sure there's a balance of academic, co-curricular. At the weekends, again, we take a view of having a balance between exciting and engaging trips that go out at the weekend, but also the opportunity for the girls to rest and relax in our lovely environment and site that we've got here. So pastoral care is very central to our community. It's pivotal to all elements of school. We're aware that if the girls are content and positive, they're much more likely to thrive in all areas of the school. We've got lots of pastoral support mechanisms at St George's. The girls have a personal tutor who they have daily contact with, and they build strong relationships with those tutors. The tutors also have a really good, build good relationships with home. That's based with international pupils as well as UK-based pupils. The role of the tutor is very much to get to know your daughter well and support her through all sorts of elements of St George's life. And we have, the tutors are quite specialist. We make sure that we have the right fit, the right teachers are tutors in the right year groups. They've all got very different strengths, whether that's working with a year 7 pupil or working with a sixth former. We have some targeted support for girls as well. We've got our health centre, which has got a full-time healthcare assistant, and she works with a team of support staff as well. We also have a school doctor, and we have 2 school counsellors who the girls can access if there's a need for that. Some of you might have already had the opportunity for your child to board, but we're members of the Boarding Schools Association, and boarding's right in the heart of our community. Physically, the boarding houses are very much in the centre of the school. We've got a really thriving boarding community. The girls can board from 4 nights up to 7 nights per week. In the lower school, the girls have shared dorms. Some of the dorms have just had a lovely refit and uplift. So they're really nice, tranquil spaces for the girls to be. Although I'm not sure the word tranquil and sort of 7 or 8, 12 and 13-year-olds really goes that well together. But actually, it is a really nice sanctuary for the lively girls in the boarding houses. And as the girls get older, they move into twin rooms, but also in the upper 6, they have single dorms, which are much more like a university style accommodation as they move towards greater independence in preparation for their life beyond St George's. We find that actually with the younger girls, having them in sort of slightly in the larger dorms, it does support their integration. You know, there's less chance to be homesick because you're amongst all your friends. So that's how the lower school boarding works. Boarding life obviously encourages lots of independence, many life skills, as well as independent study. The boarding team, we've got a broad boarding team in terms of their skills. They offer daily support for the girls, and they really are champions for the girls' well-being and guiding them through the school as they move through the different boarding houses. During the evenings and the weekends, the girls can utilise the extensive facilities that we've got, which includes our beautiful library, spectacular swimming pool. We've got a really nice gym, which is popular. The music practice rooms are available. We've got a wonderful new music tech room where the girls can engage in their music in the evenings. Lots of weekend activities. As I just mentioned, we're continually reviewing those. And actually some of the feedback is from the girls is they love going on the trips, but they also enjoy activities which take place on the school site. So for example, this weekend we had a graffiti artist come and the girls spent 3 hours creating their own art, graffiti art, which they could then sort of, you know, put in the boarding house and brighten up their own individual space. There's cultural trips, there's fun sporting activities. The girls have a really strong voice in making sure that we're meeting their needs. We make activities are compulsory for year 7 to 9. So on the weekend, they will go on all of the trips and engage in all the activities. But as the girls get a little bit older, they have some more choice. So for example, in year 10, we do ask that the girls do one or other of the activities, whether that's a Saturday or a Sunday. And then as they get a little bit older, they tend to organise some of their own things. But they are always welcome to come and get involved in all of the activities. The houses are run by a team of house mistresses, and then there's an assistant house mistress. And in the junior house, the house mistress and the assistant are their full-time boarding staff. That's their focus. They don't go off and teach during the day. They're very much available to make sure that the new girls or the younger girls are getting all that pastoral support that they need. So I think the last thing I would say is the sense that I have is very much that the girls really enjoy living in our diverse, exciting, yet also nurturing boarding community. So I hope to meet some of you in person at some point in the near future. And I will hand back, I think I'm handing back to Mrs. Hewer.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much to Mrs. Simpson. And Mrs. Simpson and I work very closely together, as you can imagine. And next we're going to pass over to Mrs. Anderson. And Mrs. Anderson runs a fantastic team of English as an additional language. So supporting those girls whose native language isn't English. We run a really strong department. We've got a fantastic reputation for this. So Mrs. Anderson is going to tell you a little bit about more about that.
Thank you, Mrs. Hewer. Good morning, everybody. I just want to talk a little bit about the English as an additional language department and what we do and how we might be able to help some of your daughters. When girls come to us and English is not their first language, we do a little test and we will allocate them a number according to our proficiency scale. And the idea is that they will continue to study with us until they become proficient according to this scale. When I say study with us, our lessons are one-to-one, and a pupil may need one lesson a week or perhaps two. And this involves either subject support, so we will map these lessons extremely closely to what the pupil needs. So if there's a weakness in particular subjects, we will contact the teachers directly, or they will talk to us, and we will help support the pupils with those particular subjects. At the same time, our ambition is to make sure that their English is as good as, and sometimes and often even better than, a lot of their native speaking peers. That's our ambition. And the girls tend to do extremely well with this very individualized support. We also do a lot of exam preparation for the girls, and we offer once a week for them to come up to our study area and do timed examination style tasks so that they're fully ready for the real thing. So we have a whole school EAL program. Our teachers at school are extremely well qualified in catering for the needs of children who don't speak English as a first language in their classes. And they also have regular training from us in that. So nobody's overlooked in lessons, and everybody is noticed and given the best chances. Consequently, our results are extremely good, and we tend to find that our non-native speakers perform as well as, and if not better than, often native English speakers. At sixth form, we offer IELTS classes, which is the International English Language Testing System. These classes prepare pupils for the IELTS exam, which is required in lots of cases should they wish to enter a British university. And again, the girls who study with us, I think 100% of them get the required IELTS grades. So that's very good. So we're pleased about. For sixth formers, we offer also subject support wherever necessary, but things like personal statement support when they're preparing statements for university, and any other sorts of help they might need. So academics aside, we're very strong pastorally as well. So the girls like to come to us. They come to us to talk about maybe problems, issues. You know, we work closely with boarding staff as well. So the girls know it's a kind of happy, safe space that they can come during the day if it ever gets a bit too much. Or if they feel a bit overwhelmed working consistently in English all the time, they know they can come up and talk to us whenever. Bring a book, bring a textbook, and we will sit and go through that with them. So I think this makes them feel pretty supported and happy in the English language environment, especially in those early days. We also do an awful lot to celebrate the diversity of our students throughout the school. So we have parties and picnics. We also have an international assembly where the girls might stand up and they might talk about what it feels like to be an international pupil. And I think they are very well respected by the school community for the miles they travel, for the difficulty of working in 2, sometimes 3 different languages, something we really applaud and appreciate. At the same time, we want to make sure the girls are mixing and integrating really well within school, and we have special integration programs to make sure we don't have any girls who feel a little bit left out. So that's very important for us too. And that's right across the curriculum. We like to see girls from all over the world, every different country, sort of doing what they want to do. So whether it's sports or music or drama, we will encourage them to get involved with everything. And sometimes it's just that little lack of confidence with the language barrier, which we will help them with. And consequently, we have girls who go on to do absolutely amazing things. So just to give a few examples, in recent years, we've had civil engineers, pupils going off to do the visual arts, architectural engineering, UCL biological sciences and psychology, fashion marketing, international relations, accounting and finance. It's an extremely broad range of subjects, and we fully support the girls in whatever they want to do. One little example, last Friday, I was having lunch with a pupil who left school last year. And when she arrived in the sixth form, she was a little bit confused, wasn't quite sure what she wanted to do. Her English wasn't fantastic. It was acceptable, and she absolutely flourished and really aced her exams and went off to Sheffield, and she's now excited to get started in her second year of landscape architecture. So, you know, I'm really proud that she was able to find her thing, and, you know, that she's finding herself in a really happy place. And that's just one example, I think, of many in terms of our international destinations. I think I've covered everything that I would like to talk about, but I know there's a question and answer session, so I'm going to hand back to Mrs. Hewer, who I think is going to lead that. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And indeed, yes, very happy to for people to be thinking of questions. As I said at the beginning, please do pop these in the chat. Before we move on to hear from the girls, who I know will be very happy to answer your questions, I am going to just ask the girls to introduce themselves. Sorry, just accidentally muted myself. Shall we start with Ryder? Ryder, do you want to just introduce yourself, say a little bit about where you're from, when you joined the school, what subjects you're doing?
I'm Ryder. I'm currently in the upper sixth at St. George's, and I joined in last year in the lower sixth. And subject-wise, I take history, maths, and textiles, and I am an international full-time boarder, and I love it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ryder. So, Courtney, shall we have Courtney? You can introduce yourself. There we go. See Courtney smiling.
Hi, I'm Courtney. I joined St. George's in Year 8 and I'm currently in Year 10 as a full boarder.
Courtney, do you want to just say where you're from? Where were you at school before you came?
I'm from Zimbabwe and I went to school there until obviously I came here in Year 8.
And now got a younger sister who's joined you as well.
Yeah.
At St. George's. Lovely, thank you very much. We've got Zara and Ashley are on the screen together. So they are going to introduce themselves, if perhaps Zara first and then Ashley.
Hi, my name is Zara. I joined in Year 7 and I came from the Maldives. I'm currently in Year 10 and I'm a full-time boarder.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm currently in Year 10 too, and I joined in Year 7. I'm from Hong Kong, and I was a full boarder, but now I'm a weekly.
Lovely, thank you very much indeed. So perhaps if we start with some of the questions that have come before. Somebody has sent a question in advance asking a little bit about how the school day is organised and how does this differ from the weekend. So yes, so we have our timetable running from Monday to Friday for lessons, for academic lessons. We don't have academic lessons at the weekends, but perhaps we'll ask Ashley and Zara to start. Do you want to explain a little bit about how the day works during the week? Overview, and then perhaps you could talk a little bit about weekends as well.
Okay, yeah. So our school days are laid out as we have 2 first lessons. Some days we have morning worship in the morning or assemblies. So we'll have 2 lessons, a break, 2 more lessons, our lunchtime, and then our last 2 lessons, club and prep.
Yeah, and then in boarding, we wake up at 7, and then we have breakfast at 7:30, and then suppers we end prep at 6:45. So we have dinner straight afterwards, prep. So yeah.
And on the weekends, sometimes on Friday nights we sit down and watch movies or just hang around the boarding house. And on Saturdays and Sundays we might have an activity. This weekend we're gonna have donutting on Sunday. So you get a Google form each term to fill out what activities you want to do each weekend.
And do you want to tell, I saw something really exciting that you were doing last weekend. Do you want to say some of the activities that you did last weekend? Can you remember?
Neither of us were here last
week. You weren't in at the weekend, okay. So there was, I don't know if Courtney was
yeah, basically last weekend we had a graffiti workshop where we went outside and we we spray painted our cardboards and made graffiti art.
Fantastic, thank you. So I hope that gives you a little bit of a flavour. And actually in the one of the things that's particular about St. George's is that the day girls, even the day girls, we don't have that division between boarders and day girls. The day girls they all do a club after lessons as well that Zara spoke about, and that's where they can choose all the different sorts of things that I spoke about in my talk. Then they all do their prep together, so day girls and boarders. So it's at the point that the boarders will go to supper, that the day girls will go home, so that we get, the day girls are here for the long extended day. They get a lot of the benefits of the boarding community, which is actually why some of them opt to then flexi board or weekly board, even if they live really close. My daughter is a good example of that. I don't think I could live any closer. And then there's in the houses in the evening. I mean, Ryder, perhaps do you want to say about some of the things you do in the house? I guess you've had lower sixth and then moved into the upper sixth houses in the evening. Do you want to say, Ryder, about some of the things you do as you get a bit older?
Yeah, I think it's obviously I wasn't here in the lower school, but I think for sixth form it's quite a good dynamic. Like we have quite a good evening schedule. Finishing at 4 gives us that time to, get all of our work done, especially during A levels. We get quite a lot of work. But I think we have that time from after school from 4 to 6, 6:20 to get our work done, and then even after dinner, we still have a lot of time to, relax, and we all kind of hang around in the common room together, and we have weekly activities as well. So the other night we did like karaoke in the common room, and we made like we have all sorts of activities. But yeah, I think next week we're doing cooking, which would be really fun. But yeah, we do all sorts of stuff, and it's just we just have such a good time, and everyone within the boarding house is all like we're all really good friends, and we just all really get along.
And we've had things like sort of pamper nights as well, sometimes if the girls need a bit of pampering. So the boarding house structure of the younger house is year 7, 8, 9 and 10. And then they move for their GCSE year in lower sixth into the next boarding house, which Ryder was in last year. And then in the upper sixth have a house all of their own. So a question on the chat, which I'll just address before we look at some of the other questions that have come through. So how many girls are full boarders? So in the junior boarding house, we have about 50 boarders. And about half of those would be full boarders. So at the weekend, we have probably 20, 25 girls in the junior boarding house who will be in doing activities. They might be doing sports matches. And then a similar sort of in the older girls. With the upper sixth, they have fewer sort of structured activities. In the weekend, they often want to get some of their work done. They might be going out with some friends who live locally as well, and that sort of bridge to being a little bit more dependent is really important as well. So we've got another question. What kind of support and opportunities will be provided for girls with talents of creativeness? Do any of the perhaps younger girls want to talk a little bit about some of the things you've done in the arts, those sorts of things? Who might volunteer?
So I do nutrition and textiles GCSE. So right now I'm in textiles. I'm doing my title page, and basically we work through like a book for coursework, and then we just like makes like tons of like textile stuff. And then in nutrition, we both do nutrition, and then we just like learn about like food poisoning and like what food is good, like what nutrition in what food. So yeah.
Sorry, and yeah, lower down the school, girls, you did lots of different things with art and lots of different and clubs. Have any of you done any of the art clubs sometimes?
Oh yeah, I do art clubs on Wednesday and Thursday, and I just like they give us like a lot of like activities. You can also do like your like textiles work or like artwork. And then when we were in year 7 till year 9, we did drawing, and then we did what's it called again? Sculpture, and then textiles. So we can like try out different things in the year like below.
Thank you very much. So yes, we have quite a wide range. I mean, I guess talents of creativeness. I think we can be creative in sciences. We can be creative in lots of different ways. But in terms of the curriculum, we're very proud of our broad curriculum. So the younger girls will have an opportunity to taste in lesson times, as I said, art and painting and sculpture, textiles. So they use materials. They also do food and nutrition, and we've introduced that as a GCSE, as Ashley said, this year. They also do drama curriculum. Drama GCSE is very popular. As we said, music technology and recording studio just open. We have girls doing music GCSE and A level. So a real range of talents. I mean, particularly we always have girls every year who go on to fantastic opportunities in art and design, fashion, going on to art colleges, often to do a foundation before they go on to something else. So really strong links with those. And again, we have a program for art scholars, for music scholars, performing arts scholars, sports scholars, etc. as well. So sort of, I guess, exemplifies that again, that idea of everybody gets to have a go, but also we've got really good systems in place for those who are particularly strong. There was a question about that we received before about how our international girls helped to integrate into a British school. So I think let's have someone different answer that one. So perhaps Courtney, do you want to say that, coming from a country quite a long way away, do you want to say about how you and perhaps some of your friends have integrated?
So I started online in the process of waiting for my visa, and I did most of my lessons online. And then before I started my lessons, I had my interviews with Mrs. Hewer and Mr. Wright. And then when I came to St. George's, I was given a shadow, which is Ashley, and she helped me around school and adjusting to everything. And we have lots of activities in boarding, so you don't really get the time to feel homesick, and everyone is friendly, so you won't feel lonely or anything.
And Ashley and Zara, you started in year 7 coming from overseas. So again, you had girls in the year above that helped you. Do you want to maybe talk about that?
And yeah, so both of us joined in year 7, and we both came from other countries. So I came from the Maldives and Ashley came from Hong Kong. And when we came to school, we had a boarding shadow. So there would be a girl in the year above who would take us around boarding, show us around, help us settle in. And like Courtney said, we never really felt homesick. Like there was always something to do and keep us busy. So yeah, the move wasn't so hard on any of us.
And some of the questions that people sometimes, understandably be concerned about, what if my daughter is unwell or not feeling very well at school? How do we look after those? Ryder, do you want to say I guess a good example of what you would, what you might do if you're feeling unwell, what support is in place, and I can add anything else at the end.
Yeah, I think generally, I haven't really been sick while I've been at school, but there have been times when I have been a bit unwell, and I've just gone down to the nurse's office, which is in Natchball, and she has everything. I've just gone to her anytime during the day. She's usually there, and she's very helpful. Any kind of medication, I've had medication that I've had to give in to her, and she's very helpful in reminding me to come and get my medication, and it's all very easy in that sense. And yeah, they have the rooms in there as well, I know, for anyone that's feeling unwell. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you. Yes, and of course the boarding staff, very much acting sort of in loco parentis as well. If someone's, feeling a little bit under the weather, then obviously the boarding staff play an important role as well as our health centre. And we have, we're linked to a surgery locally, so girls that are resident overseas would register with our surgery, and we have, we're very well connected to, to things like hospitals, if this is an emergency, or dentists, in the area that we live in. If there is a serious problem, we've got lots of different institutions and clinics on tap that the girls would access through the NHS. So I hope that makes people feel confident. Someone asked what kind of specific programs applied for girls who would like to apply for UAL, I presume the University of the Arts and Oxbridge. Again, we're doing a lot, of course, of that at the moment with the upper sixth, who are just about to be starting to send off UCAS forms for universities or for arts colleges. So the arts provision will be very much run by the arts department, and they have a lot of links. As I said, we've got lots of girls who've gone off to really strong courses, and they will have speakers come in, particularly to meet with girls who want to pursue art careers. And again, with Oxbridge, the staff will provide extra Oxbridge lessons with the girls, that many of them will have to do university admissions tests. Those are coming up in about 2 or 3 weeks. That the girls are preparing for, and we give them interview coaching and things like that as well. So there's a really structured program. That's part of what we call our sort of sixth form enrichment program. So not just their lessons, but we have a really structured program that involves things like, you know, outside speakers and leadership talks, and the UCAS, the university preparation features of that. We've also actually got a number of girls this year, and increasingly looking also at degree apprenticeships and apprenticeships, some of which are, you know, hugely competitive as well, but not just necessarily focusing on university, although they're likely to be doing both applications. But they're, you know, we're giving them lots of opportunities. We have an apprenticeship coordinator, Mrs. Shingles, who's the assistant head of sixth form, so lots of different opportunities there. One of the questions there, it was great to understand the benefits of single-sex education. Can you let us know if you organise any social events for the girls with boys' schools, joint drama productions, debating clubs? Yes, so we have a number of, we've had some girls go and join productions at Eton. We're very near to Eton College. And so with our younger girls, year 7 and 8, we tend to link up for various things with local boys' prep schools. There's a lot of them within, you know, gosh, a couple of miles here. And that might be, we've done quizzes. The girls might have a quiz and sort of supper with Papplewick School, which is just down the road. That's something that the year 7s, I think, did in the summer. And indeed, year 10s, you're off somewhere tomorrow, I think, aren't you?
Yeah, we're going to Harrow for a dinner. That's our social this year. So we're going to be split into 3 different groups and go to 3 different restaurants and then just socialize with the boys.
Yeah. So we don't, I mean, the days of sort of big discos where if feel like they're numbered, people are familiar with boarding schools from sort of 10, 20 years ago. That was often how the socials are. But we work really closely with the boys' schools. You know, we're girls who go to all girls schools and boys who go to all boys schools are all really keen to have friends who are boys and girls. Indeed, you know, my 2 children, my son's at Harrow, my daughter is here as well. Both of them have got lots of friends of girls and boys from lots of different schools. Interestingly, in contrast to friends of mine who've got children at big co-ed boarding schools, all their friends only come from that school, because I don't think they feel the need necessarily to explore other friends. Whereas I personally love the fact that my children have got friends who are boys or girls at loads of different schools. I think it gives them a really healthy mix. They seem to, you know, they're amazingly seem to link, you know, be able to keep up with friends on, you know, social media, which has its real benefits. Of course, we work with the girls, making sure they use that sensibly, but that has really been something from the pandemic that has really benefited them keeping in touch with people, which is lovely. Gosh, 2 weekends ago, I think it was the first weekend of term, we have our annual Ceilidh, which is a sort of Scottish dancing activity. None of the girls or boys, well, only very few of them actually have done this before, but we do that with Eton. So they send about 40 boys over to us here, and we have 40 of our lower 6th. And they have a dinner, and they have a sort of band who are setting up, learning these dances. It's great fun. They're much less self-conscious when they're sixth form. I normally go. I wasn't allowed to go this year because my daughter was in the lower 6. She said, "Can you not come?" So I said, "Okay, fair enough." And that's really fun. And you know, they make friends. They keep in touch. And also with things like debating. So they do debating competitions. We beat some of the really strong academic boys' schools with our debating team last year. We got to the national finals, really proud of that. But also, yeah, we will invite local schools into events that we're running, things like Model United Nations conferences. So our Model United Nations club will go to different schools. They did one at RGS Guildford. They do a weekend in Bath with lots of other schools as well. So it's very much shifted into much more broad, diverse, lots of different things to do and activities rather than sort of awkward social situations. Harrow won't travel to socials anymore. We are only allowed to go to them. They won't come anywhere else. So we go and again have sort of the girls go to different restaurants with the boys and have quite an informal supper and chatting, which is great fun. So thank you, girls, for sharing that. And sorry, I pressed the wrong button. We hope you have a lovely evening tomorrow with them. The school. Somebody asked about if the school assists with visa applications. We do very much indeed. We have a company that we use to support our visa work. Really important to make sure we're compliant as a school. We're doing absolutely all the right things as you would expect as parents. So that's something really efficient organisation that will help you through every step of the way with that, and that's something the staff here are really well trained. We may need to make sure that we know where somebody's travel plans are for the weekends, or if they're going out to see friends or family, or if it's half term and they're going abroad, making sure that we're compliant, but also that the girls have everything that they need. We often get asked about food. And I know that the girls will be happy to talk to you a little bit about food, I think. So diet is really important. I talk to the girls a lot about well-being. I have a bit of a hashtag. I quite like posting things on social media of the school, showing people what's going on. And I often use the hashtag SGA balance. I'm a great believer in having balance in all parts of our lives, hence our focus on academic excellence, but also lots of activities as well, working hard, but also having fun. At the beginning of term, we have a fantastic whole school and girl and staff barbecue. That's really important, as well as I think is working hard, and also well-being. So getting exercise, diet, all those sorts of things. So food is really important. We've done some upgrades to our dining room over the summer, which has been really well received from the girls. And we try really hard to cater for cultures and tastes. The girls have a food committee that they pay into. So any of the girls want to talk a little bit about the food? Who's going to volunteer to talk about the food? What happens, meal times, what's breakfast like, what's supper like, themed evenings, anything like that?
Yeah, good.
Okay, Courtney, are you going to talk? Say something.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
So in boarding, as Ashley said, we have breakfast at 9, and then different year groups finish prep at different time. So dinner starts at, I think, about 6:20 and probably ends around 7. There are times in the year where we have Culture and Diversity Week, where we have food from all over the world, like we have African food, Chinese food, Indian food, and we get to explore different cultures.
Okay, so Zara and Ashley, do you want to give some examples of your favourite things that we have on the menu at St George's?
I really like the katsu curry we do at school. I feel like it's like, I don't know, it's always been my favorite since year 7.
I like the spaghetti, like the Italian food that the school makes.
Because like we have a bunch of different foods from different countries, and like we always get to try new things. And so these two have been our favorites since like year 7. So, yeah.
Well, that's good to hear. And also we have a nice range. We always have a really lovely salad bar spread. The girls can go and get fruit. They get during the day. In the boarding houses, of course, they have snacks and provisions as well. But there's a real range. We don't limit how much food the girls can have. The girls are really busy and active here, so eating well is really important. And they talk in their PHSE lessons again about balanced diet as well. But lots of and a range of puddings. At breakfast, we always have cooked breakfast options as well, and as well as things like fruits and yogurts and cereal and toast. So there's an opportunity for girls to have from different cultures and things. To be able to have something that appeals to them. And as I said as well, we have a lot of committees within the school. I run the school council with the head girls. At the moment, one of our big topics that we're talking about, we're revisiting something we last talked about as a school in 2019, but is the names of our boarding houses. So our boarding houses are A, B, C, and D, but they're named Alexander, Beckett, Churchill, and Darwin, all after men. And the girls, quite rightly, we've revisited and said, is this right for a school that is very proudly all girls and celebrates female role models? So we're having a big school-wide discussion about that at the moment. But then Mrs. Simpson, who you met earlier, runs the food committee. So again, with our domestic person, the lady who's in charge of all our catering manages that and gets feedback from the girls. As well, and then boarding council have a group as well. We also have charities council, diversity and inclusion group, lots of different opportunities for the girls to have an input into the running of the school, and also as well to take on those prefect responsibilities. Ryder, you're one of our upper sixth prefects this year. Do you want to say a little bit about the role that you applied for and what you've been doing? And indeed, you were busy performing your role, I think, last night. So do you want to maybe talk about that?
Yeah, so it was about halfway through last year that we applied for whatever prefect roles we wanted. So I applied for the diversity and inclusion prefect, and as well as the marketing and admissions prefect. And in the end, I did get marketing and admissions prefect, which I'm very happy to be. So I work very closely with the marketing team and admissions. So I usually tour people around school. Last night, Sophie Elliott is also admissions prefect with me. So we were at a school last night and we were talking to families there that were thinking of joining the school. And yeah, I feel like we have a very lovely group of girls as prefects, and we all work really closely together to discuss topics such as changing the house names. And yeah, I think it is a really great opportunity to be a prefect. So to put into uni applications, but as well as kind of growing our confidence through different aspects of school life. But yeah, I think being a prefect has really grown my confidence and changed some things that I think about.
That's really nice to hear. Thank you. And also, I think I've worked very hard over the years I've been here that actually our prefect roles are really relevant to areas of schools. So we have a charity prefect. We have one who works in the sports department, library, in the different houses, house captains, getting the girls. We have lots of house events. So we have all the school involved in house music, lots of house sport, house debating is this term, lots of different house events, house art. And then also, as I said, different areas of school life. So philanthropy and outreach. So working with our local community, working with charities, as Ryder said, with marketing and admissions. And so girls actually apply for specific roles that they want. And I run the school council with the head girl and the two deputies with reps of each year group. And it's a really, it's a really sort of open forum. And actually the girls, I think because the girls feel listened to and know that they have seen things change, that we'll discuss things. And actually I'd be very honest with them about, why we maybe can't do that. Explaining things I think is really important rather than just saying no to something, and trying to explain, that sometimes things that individuals want don't necessarily work with a community. So yeah, that's how that works. I think we've covered nearly all of the questions that we've had. Someone asked about a buddy system for new joiners, which the girls have explained. Perhaps just the last one that I can see that isn't, I don't think we've covered from the questions we had before, was about, do we help with arranging airport transfers and transfers, that sort of thing? Yes, indeed. We do that. As I said, we're really, we're very close to Heathrow Airport, which of course is an international hub, is really convenient. I mean, into Heathrow Terminal 5 is about 15-20 minutes. It's very, very easy. The other terminals are a tiny bit further away, but the girls, can if they live, if people live nearby, we might have, families in Europe that might go home for an expat weekend. Some girls might stay with host families over a half term. It depends a little bit on what they're doing as something like the summer half term in May, which is often in the middle of GCSE and A-level exams. It would be rare for those girls to go back overseas, just in case, they couldn't get back or something, those exams being really important, and also because really they're just going to be doing some work. But other families, I'm going out to Hong Kong in a few weeks with Mrs. Bertram, who's a director of admissions, and I know that some of the girls who are back for half term will come and help us. We're meeting with some families, some of our old girls, people. We haven't been back since before the pandemic, so some of the people that have been helping us to go to events on our behalf. I'm really looking forward to that. Haven't been back since 2019. And also in November, Mrs. Bertram is going to an event in Saudi, so being able to see other families there as well. So, very easy for us to be able to travel as well. Well, I think we have pretty much come to a close there. I do hope it's been a really helpful little introduction to St George's, given you a bit of a flavour of the school, got to know some of the key people that would be here for your daughters, and also got to have a little taster and hear from some of the girls, which I know parents and prospective pupils really value. Of course, we hope that some of you may be able to visit us in person, or indeed if you're in any of the countries that I mentioned that we're travelling to soon, that you would come and see us. I have got probably the best admissions team in the country, I think. So do contact them, find out more information. Of course, they'll follow up with the people that have attended today. I'm sure you'll join me in saying thank you very much to the girls and the staff who participated, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you very much.